Staying in D.C., Mayor Muriel Bowser has released her budget proposals after an 8-week delay, and there is a lot to unpack here. So here are 3 things that you need to know. First, the mayor's proposals are based on the forecasted loss of 40,000 federal jobs under the Trump administration. That change could result in a loss of $1 billion in revenue over the next 4 years. Second, Mayor Bowser is proposing a major gutting of the Baby Bonds program child tax credit. And third, the mayor's office says despite the 2025 budget shortfall, there will be no layoffs, furloughs, or facility closures this year. Happening now at 4, we do have live team coverage of the mayor's budget rollout. Let's start with our Rafael Sanchez Cruz. Rafa, for people watching, I think they're wondering how is the city avoiding making any major cuts here?
Yeah, Simone, city officials tell us they were able to reduce that 2025 budget gap from $410 million down to $347. They tell us they shifted some expenses to next year's budget. They, of course, made some savings, but they did have to make cuts to services. They're calling them non-personnel services. Now, we don't have that full list just yet, but what we do know is that the Safe Passage program will be cut for the summer months.
I'm Muriel Bowser. I am the mayor of the best city in the world.
Mayor Muriel Bowser outlining her 2026 budget priorities focused on growing D.C.'s economy.
We have a shifting economy, and if we don't shift with it, we will be a city that people flee.
How does the mayor plan to make D.C.'s economy grow? By investing in sports downtown and what she calls reducing red tape for businesses.
Our path is growth. Some other people will suggest just raising taxes.
But the mayor is not proposing any tax increases. Under her plan, D.C. schools get the largest investment with $2.8 billion. It includes $123 million for teacher pay raises. D.C. police would get $600 million, a 4.8% increase. The Department of Health and Human Services, $829 million. More than 6% decrease compared to last year. So what else is on the chopping block in the mayor's proposal? DC's child tax credit and baby bonds, the program that creates a trust fund for newborns in low-income families.
We want to avoid people being displaced from our city.
Minutes into the budget process, some council members are already pushing back.
We are telling families we're funding PKEEP, we're funding Pay Equity Fund for early childhood educators. But what she isn't saying is that's only funded for next year and it's zeroed out after that.
You know you have fewer revenues, then you have to make some tough decisions.
As D.C. faces Medicaid costs to grow by $182 million, the mayor is also proposing making stricter Medicaid eligibility. City officials say 25,600 residents would be forced into D.C.'s health insurance system. Now, the council is set to start their process this upcoming Thursday. They have 70 days to approve this budget proposal. I did want to mention, Simone, that the chairman of the D.C. Council, Phil Mendelson, was not at today's event. His office tells us that he was dealing with some minor medical issues today. In downtown D.C., Rafael Sanchez Cruz, WUSA 9.
Look, a lot of numbers to break down within all of that paperwork, Rafa. We certainly appreciate you helping us navigate through it. Thank you. Of course, we know there's been a lot of talk about this budget plan and what it means for potentially moving the Commanders back to D.C. Our Matt Gregory is digging into that side of things for us. And Matt, what did the mayor have to say today?
I mean, the first thing is first, Simone, one thing we've got to talk about is Rafael's talking about the operating budget for the district. I'm talking about the capital's budget, right? That's separate. That's for long-term projects. Think like big building projects, transportation projects. And the mayor says they're able to actually go forward with the Commander's site project without any cuts and without anything kind of being moved off the capital's budget menu as a result of, she says, great timing and clever accounting. So let's take you through this today. This was the news briefing. As we were going through the briefing today, Mayor Bowser was really there to talk about what was going on with the Commander Stadium. Now, she reminded us no city dollars will be used to build the proposed stadium. The Washington Commanders will pay for the stadium right from the ground up, but city money will go to what's called horizontal construction of the site. So again, this is things like infrastructure, parking, site building, and neighborhood planning around there, but that's not a low cost. The mayor says we're talking close to $1.1 billion. Now, here's how some of the financing will happen. This is, pay attention here, it's refinancing district debt earlier this year. The mayor's team claims freed up millions of dollars for the city to use for another capital project. Also, at the same time, some of the other money used for that $1.1 billion, Nats Park got paid off 10 years ahead of schedule. So the ballpark fund that paid for it, that money now can be allocated to another ballpark, this time the Commander Stadium. Here's the city administrator talking about that clever accounting.
It's not a one in, one out. This is a very important feature of the CFO constantly and very smartly refinancing and restructuring the existing debt that can free up capacity without having to cut anything.
So coming up at 5, right? Oh, by the way, the CFO, that's the Chief Financial Officer. They're the ones who do the finances for the city. Again, coming up at 5, we're going to talk about, we just saw what it's going to cost. What are the benefits? And at least one councilman had some strong questions for the mayor. You'll hear that coming up at 5 o'clock here on WUSA 9. But for now, in downtown D.C., Matt Gregory, back to you.
I think most taxpayers appreciate them trying to get a little creative here with the numbers and where the money's coming from, because no one wants it to come out of their own wallets and pocketbooks. Matt, thank you.